The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome to another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. It's great to be here today. My name is Greigg, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, Jacqueline Smith.
Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here with you all, always. And today we are going to talk about another one of the 15 points. And remember, our goal with the 15-Point Plan, the reason why we're so passionate about the 15-Point Plan is because it is a simple system that you can practice and implement every single day to increase your energy and reduce stress. So, Ryan, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, Jacqueline, today we're talking about one of the more challenging points for me, actually. Today we're talking about serving, specifically in service. And this can be done in many different ways, maybe volunteering, donating, helping an organization, maybe just helping a friend in need and doing what you can to kind of take your mind off yourself and putting it onto others. It sounds simple, right? For example, donating your time, going to a local organization, doing those things. But what was challenging for me, Jacqueline, was finding the way to do this every single day. And it took me like talking with people like you and talking with other people and finding out what they were doing, because I was doing things that I felt like were helping others, but they were work related. And so I didn't feel like it was service. Or I would do something very large one day, for example, donating time or money to a school, to my son's school, or volunteering time. But that would be a big thing and it would be all day long. And I couldn't do that every day. And so I noticed after tracking this system for a while that was often the point I got the least. And so I was curious, Jacqueline, on some things that you were doing to get that point and some things that our listeners can do to get that point and to really define what does service mean to us. And so what do you think about service, and what are some ways that you've been able to check off that point?
Yeah, I first of all relate to that so much because I think sometimes when you do have more of like a service heart, you kind of diminish all the little things that you do to serve others, and think of it as like these big astronomical things, like the big volunteer days or the monetary contributions that you make. But there's so many little ways that you can serve those around you every single day. And actually, Ben Kinney helped me with this a couple years ago or a few years ago. He gave me some ideas because I was overcomplicating it. I was making it like this big thing. And he said, just giving a compliment. And you'll, eventually, if you know me and you're in my life, you'll get a text from me, sometime throughout the day, usually in the mornings. And that's part of me, checking off the service point. I'm thinking, who am I thankful for? It's part of my gratitude practice. So I get multiple points here, right? Who am I thankful for? And I'll send a message. And someone told me this a long time ago. They said, Jacqueline, it was a family friend. He's no longer with us, but I always remember this. He said to me, when you think of someone, and you think of like a compliment, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure you share it. It's so important. If we all would just do that. And I that's really stuck with me. And I think sometimes like I'll send a simple text to Ben or to someone on my team or, family or friends. And the messages I get back, like they're just so thankful for getting that. And I think sometimes we're just dealing with so many problems all the time. It's nice to get like a nice text sometimes, that someone was thinking about you. I have a gal on my team. She's been in the business for 10 years and she's really focused on really going deep in relationship with people. And she loves note cards. And I love coming in every so often and I'll have a note card from her on my desk, and she takes the time, like she writes it out and really thinks, and gives me something specific, and it's not generic, and it means so much to me. And I think, gosh, like that is serving. Like it can be a text compliment. It could be a note card. It could be just like taking a little bit of time out of your day and, calling a friend and saying, hey, you know what, Ryan, you were on my mind. And I just wanted to call and see how you're doing. Like, wouldn't that feel good to get that call?
It would actually. Yeah.
And
And to
so
get
it's
that
like,
text, like I'm picturing like getting that text, it just out of nowhere. Like that's really powerful to get that text, to think about
mhm,
that text. And I thought to myself, I'm going to do that like right now. And then I thought, I'll probably do it right now, but then maybe I would forget tomorrow. So then like I'm going through all these things in my head. How could I not forget tomorrow? And then I thought, why don't I set an alarm on my phone? It could be any time in the day that just said something like, I don't know, 3 p.m., send text to somebody you care about.
mhm,
What if I just put that alarm into my phone? Then I could just every day at 3 p.m., it would remind me, hey, send somebody a text. And I could do that. Then, like, I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. Or I could keep a big stack of note cards on my desk. So every
mhm,
time I come into my desk, I see that and I just think it and I go, oh, yeah, there's a cool way to serve. So those were like really easy, helpful ways to serve, to give somebody some good energy, to share some gratitude with somebody.
mhm.
And if I can systematize that, like if I did that every day, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. And imagine if we all did that every day. I mean, you'd just be uplifting everyone around you. And I don't know. It really impacts, I think, when you get something out of the blue. Because we get thank yous, like if you do something for someone, right?
Yeah.
So you hold the door for someone and they say thank you. But getting something just random that's really genuine, it's
Hmm.
so meaningful. So serving doesn't have to be this complicated thing. It can be sharing your gratitude, giving a compliment. It just we overcomplicate things sometimes, right?
Yeah, we really do. We really do. And I think it's great to do those big events, of course,
Mhm.
donate a full day and donate your time and
Yeah.
your money when you can. You mentioned someone that was in your life, and it made me think of my dad, who's also no longer with us. But it's like everywhere my dad went, it was just he specifically left that room with a little bit more of a smile than they had when he went in there.
Mhm.
He would just talk with somebody. He would ask them a couple questions. He didn't have to. And he would just make them feel good. And that was a form of service as I'm looking at it. My dad was really, really good about that. Of when he went somewhere, when he talked with somebody, whether it was the cashier, driver, the person at the doctor, whatever, like he walked away and I'd look back and that person would be smiling. And
Mhm.
I'm just thinking that is a really cool way to serve. Like if you could just make one more person smile every day, that's a massive impact in the world.
Yeah.
My dad was super good at that. So I'm going to try to keep practicing what my dad did.
Yeah, it's so cool because things like that, like you'll never forget that, and they live on. Like you have that memory, and so many people probably share that sentiment about your dad. And so in a way, these little things, the way that you show up, the way that you interact with people, the way that you serve, I mean, it's a legacy. We talk about
Mm,
creating these legacies in business, but your real legacy is how you made people feel.
mm, wow.
And and yeah, I think that it's really cool to do these big volunteer projects and to give, monetarily and all that. But I think that a bigger impact is in all of the ways that you can impact people's lives daily. And we think they're so small, but I think those things are really huge. Those are the things that you remember after people are gone.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like when you see, I think we mentioned this on a podcast a couple episodes ago, where going to live events,
Hmm.
uh, I could watch Brendan Burchard up there or Tony Robbins up there, and they could speak for an hour and they could speak to 500 people and make a massive impact on those 500 people. But
Hmm.
if Brendan came to me after, or Tony came to me, or Tom Billy, or one of these people that I look up to, and they like spent 10 seconds with just me individually, imagine what that would do for me. So, what I'm hearing from you is also there's a difference of like big picture, bigger level service with a big group for a big organization. And that certainly has an impact. I think the impact that we're talking about is a little bit more personal and direct and takes less time
Hmm.
and goes such a long way. I'm just picturing, I don't know who I'm going to text yet, but I'm going to text somebody. And I'm just picturing like them all of a sudden. And it's not, I'm going to actually think about this. It's not going to be like my best friend or somebody I talk to daily, and I'm just picturing them getting that going like, oh, that was kind of random, but that was kind of cool.
Yeah. I lead a monthly mastermind group at our office, and there's been a few of the women that have come, and one of them brought me a note card. One of them brought me a note card in this little like wood carving. Another one last time brought me just this little like vase of daffodils. And it just is so sweet when they do things like that. I'm not expecting it, and it means so much that they thought ahead and did that. And I just think, wow, how can I incorporate more of that in my life? I know the president of our company Place, Chris Stewart, one thing that has really stood out to me is this guy. I mean, he worked with like Warren Buffett,
Mm-hmm.
and after you meet with him, I mean, you'll get a note card in the mail. And I'm like, wow, you're never too big to send a note card or to acknowledge people around you. And in fact, I'd probably argue the most successful people do that really well,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they are in the position that they're in. And I think a lot of times we're so self-focused in life. And I don't know why this popped into my head, but just during COVID, it was interesting to see how people responded. Like there was a lot of people that really stepped up as leaders in the community. I mean, I don't know about you in Bellingham, but here we had all of these like support local pages that popped up. People were, really banding together to support restaurants and business
Definitely.
owners. And then there were people that were kind of just like complaining all the time and focused on all the inconveniences that they were experiencing. And it's fascinating to watch, like in any situation like that, how the people that are focusing on serving and helping and providing solution and community and leadership, they seem a lot less stressed out
Right.
than the people that are focused on, well, now I can't do this, and now I have to do this, and all the ways that they're being impacted. And if you think about that just on a daily basis, are you going into your day thinking about you, thinking about what you have to do and what you need and what, right? Or are you looking ahead at the day going, who can I impact today? Who can I be sunshine for? Like you see those quotes, like
Mm-hmm.
stick close to those people that feel like sunshine. Well, do we want to just find the people that feel like sunshine, or do we want to look for ways that we can be sunshine for people?
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to believe that, and I look back at my own life, like the days that I'm going into the day focused on serving others, what can I do to help people around me, whether it's my job to do it or not, I have way better days than the days that I'm focused on what I have to do and what Jacqueline needs, right? It's just a mindset shift.
Yeah, I think it is. And, back to your reference to COVID, we talked about that on a previous episode of things not happening to us, but happening for us. Like we couldn't do just about anything about that. So what do? We have to go back to, okay, well, if I can't do anything about this, I can either sit and complain, I can do nothing, I can be angry about it, or, hey, how can I help somebody? Hey, what can I do about this? Hey, how can I turn something good from this?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that was out of our hands during COVID and during that time. And the more we, when that was such a difficult and challenging time, I don't know about you, but the more I was around people, the more I was giving to others, the more I was out there trying to just not think about me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about it that much. It really helped me keep my mind off the bad thing. So I think one of the points behind service and serving others is to just take stuff off of it being about us, like you said, and just really going into our day, going into our actions, going into what we're doing. How can we serve others? How can we help others? And the thing is when we have that attitude and we come from a place of service, we can hit our business goals. We can hit the other goals doing that, but we're going to do it in such a friendlier and more fun way and continue to pass those smiles, just like my dad did, to the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So finding the little ways to serve and give back have been helpful for me to be able to really realize the importance and the strength of service, not just on the bigger picture level, but on the micro level and on the impacts and changes that it can make and really affect people in a positive way that are close to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Ryan, I think we're going to go forward after this conversation and insert more. I could look at it kind of like service is an act of gratitude. And so I think it's a great way to approach the day and make sure that we're going into each day looking for ways to create value for other people. And that is really what service is. It's creating value for others around us. And through that, you will create a lasting impact and a lasting legacy, beyond any amount of money, I think. So I hope that this episode has helped you all think of ways that you can provide value to others around you and increase the number of days that you get your serving point, and all the health benefits that come from it, and the energy and the mindset that you'll get from just being more focused on other people and serving. And I hope that blesses you. And Ryan, what do you got for us as we wrap up?
That's right. Well, Jacqueline, I just want to remind everybody before they hit that subscribe button or that share button or that like and comment button on all the platforms that host this podcast, this could be your service point for today. Just hit that copy and that paste button and share this episode or any of your favorite episodes with a friend, family, or loved one, or maybe a colleague, because that could be a great point. Hey, Jacqueline, I was thinking about you today. I heard this episode on this podcast, and I thought you might enjoy it. So there's your service point today. You can spread the word of the 15-point plan and check that service box for your points. We thank you for listening. Of course, check all other podcasts on winmakegive.com. Check our social media platforms, both on Facebook and on Instagram. And until next time, we thank you for listening. See you next week.
Thank you. See you.
Bye, everyone.